Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining me. Once again, my name is John Kayode. Obviously, people call me John K. And like I always say, my job sits at the intersection of product security and software engineering. So in this episode, within this series, I call it the Product Security Foundation or Product Security 101, whatever you want to call it. I want to move to the third part, which is going to be like the last part of this video. It's a three-part video. So, and I've been talking about, I think it's well within the range to say this is Product Security 101, because what I've been talking about is how product security is shaping up, how it kind of connects to how it's a core component of software engineering and delivery, how people can find their footings, how people can pivot to it, how people can ramp up their knowledge, how people can help build career around it, and how product security team can function within this space, using this information, the knowledge I put together here. This will go a long way to help a lot of people, to kickstart career or maybe to kickstart a team. Yeah, it's not just for like maybe career purpose alone. If you follow the trajectory I followed, it's also good for somebody who can just pick it up and look at, okay, what has been mapped out, and that will help you to to strengthen your team or maybe build out a new team. So the third thing I want to talk about, because I've talked about, what is product security, what are the components, what are the pillars, what are the domains, what are the career paths, what are the functions, what are the what are the workflows, what are the pipeline that you can build from some of the information I supplied. At this stage, I want to talk about the real tools of trade plus modern product security stack. So this is not just for individual career development alone, but also good for, like I said, or like I always repeat it since the beginning of this video, it can also good for somebody who is building up a team or who is part of a team in product security arena. So one is AppSec. So now, what is the risk key? What is your focus you want to build around in AppSec? Is threat identification. Then cloud security is secure architecture. In cloud security, the way you architect your workload determines whether it's secured or vulnerable, and that will determine the way it will be configured, or deployed. So DevSecOps is the automation. This is where you build embed scanning, embed controls into your CI/CD pipeline, making sure that vulnerabilities doesn't make it into production, upstream, that it could be caught maybe at ID level. That is the development environment of a developer. What you can do to make sure that scans kick in, and vulnerability are not shipped upstream, just so to say. Detection. This is where your observability pipeline. So it's observability pipeline where you be able to put together your log sources, maybe application logs that borders on security, audit log, from some of your servers, endpoint. Even sometimes you pull some information from endpoint, because they will help you to correlate some of the events that are happening within other workflow to be able to make some judgment. So observability is you having a visibility into what is going on in your application layer, in your endpoint layer, in your database layer, every other thing, maybe logic layer, whatever it is that you want to put together and you want to make sense of them. This will give you, that security posture you need to have as a team. Governance. This is a risk prioritization. How do you make sure that you are spending your effort on the right risk? What is that thing that keep everybody up at night? Are we able to identify it? Are we able to have a strategy to manage it? So we talk about secure code, the developers empathy. What are those things can a product security team can put together to make sure that developers have a developer experience is well strong within your workflow, to make sure that you don't want to be let me say, a challenge, another problem to the developer experience. You want to make it seamless. You want to streamline stuff like that. So supply chain, build integrity. So that shows that whoever is using your product, they can be sure that you are doing the right thing, so that they don't kind of inherit your security risk, and it's for you to just like vice versa. So at the same time, you want to be sure you are on top of things when it comes to you using a third-party solution as well. Architecture. This is system thinking. How, for instance, how building this system. What is the feature? What is session here? is this application so critical that we don't want our session to stay beyond maybe 7 hours or 24 hours or stuff like that? What kind of defense in-depth strategy is in place? Zero trust. What are the boundaries and the scope of identity and access management? So these are the things you want to look into when it comes to modern product security stack. And so you can see we have the areas, we have the risks that you need to develop. Then the layers and typical tools. So if you look at code scanning, SEMGREP and code QL are kind of very popular tooling. This is not all. I just put some of the things that I find very easy to lay hands on. Dependency, Sneak, Secret Vault, Doppler. I've not used Doppler before, but I've used Vault. Container, Trivi, scanning, Clear, FACO, cloud security like Wiz, Prisma. I've used Wiz, I've used GitLab, a lot, and some GitLab actions. So yeah, Threat Dragon for threat modeling, Splunk, Elastic. We have a Datadog and stuff like that. Runtime security, CrowdStrike, and FACO. All these things in this slide, what I combine here is the arena of product security and the skill you have to build, not just as an individual, but even as a team, that functionality you have to build in this arena. Then in these particular areas, what are the tools that you can use to function, with some processes and with some other things? These are the things that I speak about here. Okay. So let's look at additional product security components beyond the 10 core. When I started, I began to talk about the 10 core, and that was in the second part of the video. But now I want to just talk about some other things that you need to pay attention to. And one of them is identity and access management. So it's a very kind of general, because the reality is that you find out that apart from within software engineering or software security, in IT operation too, they do identity and access management for, like the organization wide, like the people identity, right? So, but in the case of, software identity, you can have customer identity management like CIAM, where you have, maybe if you have a solution, a product that kind of onboard customers, you have to find a way of, of managing that. And at the end of the day, you might not want to build the internal tooling. You might need to leverage maybe, maybe off-the-shelf tools and stuff like that. So all these things. So it's very important as a product security team to be to know that, okay, these are all components. So this is a component of the product security that you have to look into. And in this identity access management, this is where you deal with authentication, authorization, using protocols like OAuth2, open authentication, open identity, and open ID connect, SAML, RBCs, or RBACs, or versus ABAC, privilege access management, SPFA, SPIRE, or what have you. All these things are very, very important that we take them into consideration as a learner, as somebody who's building out a team or a workflow. So, like, I've mentioned, solutions like Okta, like Auto, like Klog, HashiCorp Vault. All these are they are tools of the trade when it comes to identity and access management. There's a way they fare together. And the other area that it goes beyond the core 10 is API security. The reason why all these ones are maybe additional, that I don't bring them, is that sometimes they could be cross-functional. Sometimes they could be something that maybe your security capability has not matured to that level. It's not something that come, mainstream almost immediately. But as you mature that, you see that, and you have solutions and components of your product, making use of most of these things, especially in engineering or software delivery environment, you begin to see them as also part of your product security landscape. So we have a service-to-service trust under API security. You have API authorization. You have to know about GraphQL security, REST, discovery, machine identity, and stuff like that. So you learn JWT, API gateways, rate limiting, schema validation. And you can see some of the tools there. We have a Kong, RPG, and a SOT security. There are a lot. Even there are new ones that are coming in, in the area of AI. So all these things, they are basically part of your product security landscape. But why they might not be core, but they are very, very important part of it. Then I look at Kubernetes security, platform security engineering. How do you harden your cluster? How do you admission? How do you administer controls? How do you do container escape prevention, pod isolation? Now, so these are the things you do. You go to platform security engineering. You talk about golden path. You talk about secure template. You talk about secure infrastructure abstraction, self-service security. Now, but what do you do at platform security engineering? You build secure internal developer platform. That was, I think I've mentioned this previous video, that when it comes to platform security engineering, what you are doing is that you're building an internal tooling for you to do your security business, or for you to help your platform engineering to make sure that they are building something, secure, and something very secure. So elite companies scales security through platform. Now, let me break this down. I think let me just say more about platform security engineering. So this is the concept. For instance, if I build an internal tool that allows developer to consume security services as self-service, like they don't have to wait, or they don't have to throw something over to security team, but security team has gone ahead to provide, toolings, toolbars for them to just incorporate into their development workflow and do their job. So the job now is not like it's not like security team is inserting themselves into engineering workflow. No, what security has done is to go ahead and build solutions, build tools and platforms that developers can just consume and do their job. So additional component. Moving forward, so the other thing is developer experience. Like I said, include secure default internal toolbars. I mentioned that US security workflows, IDs, developers onboarding. Reality, many product security failures are US failures. Yeah, I get that. So basically what we are doing here is developer experience. And developer experience cannot be without an internal development tooling, or let me say development platform where developers can make use of security solutions and processes without necessarily kind of insert them into their own workflow physically. So the other one is run application self-protection, RASP. So application aware runtime defense, protecting application journey execution, include runtime exploit blocking, behavioral analysis, and process monitoring. Tools, construct security. So this is when you have something built into a solution or a process built into your runtime environment to make sure that the exploits are blocked out, behaviors are monitored, analyzed, and as runtime monitoring is going on, and some actions can be triggered during that workflow without anybody in between. Then product abuse and anti-fraud security. Stop being bought, fake accounts, spam, scraping, abuse, automation. These are other areas of product security, even though they are not mainstream, but these are the areas that some organizations have. They need to have a pipeline based on what they are doing. They will definitely need to combat or to have a security program around bots, faking accounts, and scraping and scraping abuse of their platform and stuff like that. So they need that. Privacy engineering. So this is where it is protecting user data system, data minimization, encryption, architecture, consent system. Consent is very important. Like, we don't all like it when we are bombarded, with a lot of ads, and because somehow we visited somewhere and they collected our data. Now we are facing the reality. So all those things becomes very important in a product security environment where those things are, where this kind of scenario plays out, where maybe they deal with a lot of customer complain. There are a lot of regulatory that says, okay, this is how do you manage your consent system? How do you know whether people want you to send them an aftermath message or not? The encryption mechanism, how do you make sure that, okay, maybe trafficking in transit or maybe at rest, how do you want them to behave? Is it encrypted or non-encrypted and stuff like that? So now this is where you deal with regulatory bodies like GDPR, like California, consumer laws. Then when you deal with PIPEDA in Canada, you deal with a lot of these regulatory. So all these areas or components are part of product security, just that they might not be a mainstream. So additional components still going on. We have AI, LLM security research, red teaming. Red teaming is testing defenses realistically. So it's a kind of common thing within a security landscape for red teaming. Red teaming is a long age practice within a security team. So it's also applicable within product security. Security research, focus, discovery, vulnerability, and attack techniques. So this is also a long age, practice within security team. But the new one is AI or LLM security. So how does this work? Is securing LLM applications. When you build applications on top of large language models, when you build agents, when you pipelines, model pipelines are getting data for training and stuff like that, there are security risks associated with these workflows. So these areas is what we now call is a new area called AI or LLM security, and they fall under product security as a whole. We have infrastructure as code. We all know this. This is where you scan your Terraform or CloudFormation, you secure them. Misconfiguration, prevention, policy as code, drift analysis, checkoff, and DevSec. They are toolings that can be used in this environment. So good implementation stack for building sec agent, security agent, LLM orchestration, security telemetry. I have used LangChain to monitor what is going on in my local LLM environment. Security telemetry, SameGraph, I've mentioned that, code, context, GitHub, APIs, tree sitters, all these things allows you to be able to perform security best practices, tooling, and management around security, AI security agent. Okay, then additional components, moving to detection engineering. This is where logs, logs, correlation, rules, alert management, SIEM product comes together to help you to have visibility into your security landscape. And for security observability too, it's like where you now put together you now kind of expose the logs, the correlation you are doing, you expose them through one tool or the other, and you can able to, have access to be able to make sense of it. So detection, distinct from monitoring engineering, highly quality attack detection. So this is where the detection happens in detection engineering, but in observability, that is where you see it. That is where you put, an eye to it. So we have incident response engineering, account takeover, API abuse, supply chain attack, cloud compromise, include, all these things happens under incident response, Then secure release engineering, artifact signing, build verification, deploy integrity. All these things happen within that space. Okay, so we have mobile product security, we have embedded IoT product security. This too is almost the same thing that happened in a modern web environment, but now we know the specific, or maybe let me say the uniqueness of mobile products, and the uniqueness of embedded product as well, and IoT products. Like embedded product can be, something that is running within another machine. It could be robot, it could be Internet of Things, and for mobile, it could be iOS, it could be Android, it could be any other mobile operating system that is running our services. So there are risks, there are security risks that are associated with it. Then cryptographic engineering, yes, correct use of cryptographic system like public infrastructure, like envelope encryption, TLS. These are very important components. Human-centered security chaos engineering. Security engineering is testing resilience against security failures. So then human-centered security is the UI, the US, the failing, the cognitive load, the secure default. Then security program management. How do you roadmap? How do you cross-function? How do you execute? And how do you gather report? These are the things you want to take a look at. Then we go to customer trust and security assurance. We have security data engineering. We have security automation and orchestration, adversarial ML security, browser and client security, secret and key management engineering. So if you look at this slide, we have like 6 here, and all of them are very, very important. Now, the reason why I'm putting this out there here is that it's to help you to see what exactly is going on, what exactly you need to be focusing on. So now, if you have the resources here and you begin to look at them as, okay, maybe this one is applicable to my, to my workflow, or this one is not applicable. This is like a curated list of things that you could be doing, or and the way you can do it, appropriately. So, so you can see that we have like 29 to 30, additional components. These components not just say, okay, they are interrelated, and they tell you what exactly should be happening at those level. So we have secure multi-tenancy engineering. For instance, if you are using multiple cloud environment, how do you ensure that communication between these two cloud environments are secured? Security, economics, and risk quantification. Fear model, risk quantification, security risk, return on investment, prioritization models, all these things, and the agentic AI ideas. All these things can fit into your product security environment component, and it can help you to build security programs. It can help you to learn. It can help you to look forward and do much more research. Okay, so good implementation stack for building security AI agents. So I added this as a bonus, specifically for AI security and the AI and agent security. So LLM orchestration, LangGraph, Crew, AI, and AutoGen are very good tooling for orchestration. Code contest, GitHub APIs, they are good product for that. Attack reasoning, MITRE attack, Guardrail, Upper Rego, CEDAR, all those guys are good for that. Security telemetry, SameGraph, Q, Query, Farco, they are good. Cloud graphing, this is AWS config, WinStyle, Graph Logic, Neo4j. All these guys are good for good implementation stack for building security AI agents. So this is like acronyms and terms, legend. So I kind of put this here to sometimes to be able to look up the meaning of most of these acronyms that are used here. And and it's just for informational purpose. And then with that, I come to the end of this product security 101. Is a 3-part video, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And if I want to summarize to you what this 3-part product security 101 does, is to expose individual, is to help you to expose individual to the world of product security in an AI era and in a modern software delivery environment, to tell you as a person, as a practitioner in that field, to say, okay, what are those things I should be looking out for? How do I ramp up my knowledge? What are the things I should be learning? What are the things I should prioritize? And as a team too, is to give you an idea of what we need to be doing. You understand me now? And what are those ones that are very, very important to us as a team, or where we are right now, and what are those things that can help us to move to the next level. So this is the reason why this video is made, and I want to believe that it will help some people out there, as it helps me too. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.